Our today's lecture is about genetics, and this lecture is a kind of introduction of genetics. So let's start with the definition. What is genetics? Genetics is actually the branch of biology. It is the branch of biology in which we study about the heredity and variation of organism. So in genetics, we study actually two things. One is heredity, another one is variation. Now, what is heredity and what is variation? Heredity is a phenomena in which the informations are transferred from one organism to another organism. So simply, the transfer of information from one organism to another organism is called heredity. And variation of organism, variation is derived from vary, which means change. So in genetics, we study two things. One is the transfer of information from one organism to another organism, and another one is the changes in the organisms. So this is actually called genetics. So for that, we use special terms. For the transfer of information, we use the term heredity, and for the change, we use the term variation. So these two things actually we study in the genetics. Now, what are the factors responsible for the changes and transfer of information from one organism to another organism? The main factors are the gene, chromosome, DNA. So let's have a short view on these all. Gene. A very one-line definition is that gene is actually the portion of a DNA that has information. Simple definition, to the point definition, and one-line definition is that it is the portion of DNA. Now this is a DNA with us, a small portion of DNA which has information. This is called a gene. Simple. You can say a portion that you take from the DNA, that is called gene. So this gene has a specific position on the chromosome. That specific position is known as locus. Now this is the chromosome. The lines that you see, these lines are actually the positions for the genes. So a single position for a single gene is known as locus. And if you are telling that number of positions for number of genes, then that is loci. So while studying the genetics, we often hear allele. Now what is allele? Allele is actually one or more alternative form of gene. So when a gene exists in more than one form, or when there are alternative forms available for a single gene, that is known as allele. Now a gene for a blood has a number of other genes also, like A, B, O. Now these are the three forms of this gene. These are the alternative forms of the gene for what? For blood. Now these are the allele. That's it. Now coming towards the chromosome. What actually chromosome is? Chromosome is actually the composition of DNA and protein. When DNA and protein combine together, they make chromosome. And now what is DNA? DNA is made up of nucleotides. And now what is nucleotide? Nucleotide is when sugar, phosphate, and nitrogenous base, when these three units combine together, they make nucleotide. And when these units combine together, number of nucleotides combine together, they make the DNA. And now when DNA and protein combine together, we give a very interesting name in the biology to this, that is the chromatin material. And now this chromatin material, when it is in the uncoiled shape or dispersed shape, we call it as chromatid. These are the chromatin materials, and this is called chromatid. And when this uncoiled shape become coiled and a hard shape is formed, that is known as chromosome. That is known as chromosome. So now DNA and protein, these are the chromatin material, uncoiled are the chromatids, and coiled becomes the chromosome. Now summing up our lecture in a box here, DNA, which is present in the nucleus, and a small portion of the DNA is called gene, which has information, and the same DNA, when it is dispersed, uncoiled, we call it as chromatid. And when this dispersed uncoiled DNA becomes coiled and a hard shape is formed, we call it as chromosome. So these all are present in the nucleus. So this is our introduction about genetics. If still you have any question regarding the topic right now, you can drop that in the comment box. We'll come for the answers very soon. Thank you for watching.